The Oklahoma City Thunder, Danny Chiney, they are one win away from a second consecutive NBA Finals berth, and here is how they got it done here in Game 5. Keldon Johnson, I'm not sure what exactly he was saying to Victor.
You're that dude.
It didn't.
I know it didn't really transpire. Just one day.
Both stars actually struggled to start this game. Shea, he struggled early, just 1 for 5 in the first quarter. But the difference maker is that everyone else combined for 9 of 15 for OKC here. And then they really limited Victor Wembanyama, Shanae.
Yeah, Victor Wembanyama, anytime he's shooting from 3 and missing, you're going to actually breathe a sigh of relief if you're the Oklahoma City Thunder. Look at how well they did. I know it was an off night for him, but it was just tough to see him miss his bunnies.
Yeah, and Mark Daigneault, despite many of us, I'll include myself in that us, saying, is this Hartenstein series, stuck with him? And he was impactful. Here, though, Shea drops Victor.
Shooter's
bounce.
Let me see Yo Tootsie
roll.
I
think shooter's bounce is better than
SGA, he rebounded with 12 points in the second frame here. So to the third we go. Jared McCain started this game, only had 2 points in the first half. He had 18 of his 20 in the second.
Strong little guy right there. Strong little man. He's not little. He's like 6'5".
Yeah,
everybody forgets he's 6'5".
Hits the step back here. Now, Wemby immediately signaled for everyone to get together and chat. Here's De'Aaron Fox on what Victor said.
We don't want our season to end this week, so obviously getting down, you don't want to get down, but when we got down, we have to be willing to fight back because, we could lose today and then, lose in 2 days and your season's over.
It ain't done yet, but they did take one step closer to their season ending here. The Spurs defense.
Some holes there. Anytime SGA can go north and south with no resistance and finish with a signature layup and one sun, it's not a good sign for the Spurs.
So this got a lot of attention in the Ethernet, which appears that Wemby said something to both Mason Plumlee and Bismack Biyombo here, and then a hard foul there on Jared McCain, Danny.
Yeah, people are going to read deep into everything. I don't think there's anything.
That is
basketball.
That is very true.
And they call this foul here. This is a block shot. If Danny Green goes on lane and gets his floater smacked to the other side, guess what they're doing?
It's
a play on.
About in the third person. OKC wins this one 127-114, and now they lead the series 3-2 here. So SGA, he recorded his 24th playoff game with at least 30 points and 5 assists with Oklahoma City. By the way, that does tie Russell Westbrook for the most of those types of games in team history. But Janae, it wasn't really a pretty 30-point night for SGA here.
It wasn't.
He talked about his teammates' impact and specifically what Chet Holmgren was able to do in this all-important Game 5.
I don't ever worry about Chet just because I know how much he loves the game, how much he cares, and how much he works. He'll figure it out no matter what it looks like. He'll get to it, and I'd bet on Chet 10 times out of 10, and he proved why I would bet on him tonight. I always say we're a team out there. We don't get this far. I don't have this individual success. This team doesn't have this success without all 15 guys in the locker room, and we proved it tonight. If it was 4-5 me's out there, we would have been down 20 after the first quarter. But the guys were great to start the game. I probably should never start like that again. Give us a better chance to win a ball game, but the guys held it down.
I feel you, Shea. I'm a utility player. 5 me's out there, we ain't doing much. I need Shanae, I need Danny. But this was an impressive win for the Thunder. I loved what Brian Windhorst said on our show yesterday, Shanae. He said the Thunder are never desperate. And they fully showed this, Danny, in that last game.
They did, and the bigs came to play. Got to give a lot of credit to Chet. We called him out. Everybody's been calling him out throughout the whole week or the last couple of days because he hasn't showed up much. But they rebounded. Isaiah Hartenstein's been rebounded, but Chet, he put himself in position, took advantage of the smalls, got them in. Whenever one went to go help, he was ducking in. Isaiah was ducking in. Went to the offensive glass, was more assertive, more aggressive. You see, these are plays that he normally doesn't have. He's looking for a shot, being aggressive, getting his spots, getting to the glass. So these little things, this activity changes the whole dynamic, changes the whole atmosphere and energy of their group. When he came to bring it, it allowed everybody else to kind of follow suit and make it easier for SGA.
I'm sorry, guys. I watched the Michael Jackson movie, and it lives rent-free in my head. And we know Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. He's like, I'm bad. He's a bad man. He truly is bad. He's averaged 30 points per game the last 4 seasons.
Even on bad nights, yeah.
But even on bad nights. But one thing he's always going to do regardless is still trust his teammates. And this was on full display. Caruso with the screen to get him open. Hartenstein with the screen for him to attack. Here you're going to see he's going to draw 2. This should be a show and go with Victor Wembanyama, but instead and Victor stays too late
There's
because
that
he's that lethal. On the backside, there's the duck in. There's a mismatch for Isaiah Hartenstein. Keldon Johnson, 6'6". He's a 7-footer. Easy layup. He's still going to trust others even as he's putting in work and getting points. Caruso again with the screen to get him open. Hartenstein with the screen for him to attack. This time he's going to make another read. Most people probably would try to score, but it's Victor. The guy has an infinite wingspan. He sees the corner shooter, which is Alex Caruso, who had 22 on the night and shooting near 60% from three. Shea always trusts his teammates. That's why this team plays well on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, and it was, as you said, Shea, though, he struggled a little bit early, and he trusted his teammates. But how did he get himself going? He's such a smart player. He used getting to the free throw line to kind of find it, Danny.
Yes, he did. And that's why he's one of the highest IQ players. That's why he's a 2-time MVP. Not because he's talented. With those things, he is talented. He's crafty. He's athletic. He's deceptive. Nobody knows his speeds. But he's smart. And he knows how to draw fouls. Like, he got himself into the game time and time again by putting these guys in position to foul him. And obviously, of course, embellishing a little bit, selling it some. But he knows how to use his body. He knows how to use angles, put them in position, pump fake, get them in the air to where they have to draw fouls. And eventually, you get enough free throws to go down. He shot 17 of them.
Right.
You're going to find rhythm. After he got those two, I think it was mid-first or second quarter, got those 2 free throws to drop, next you know, he hits a mid-range. Then you get the shooter's bounce. And now he's in rhythm. So him going to the free throw line was smart, not only for his team, but for himself to get himself going.
And Shea also knows how to control his emotions. There was a key moment where this happened in the series where he was cooking, he was going one-on-one. Do you guys remember this? And Jared McCain was calling for the ball.
Yes.
And he turned, he was like, chill. I don't know if he said chill. He said, calm the
There was an expletive there as well.
There were. But I like this pairing. Jared McCain starting, they're like fire and ice. Shea is cool. He's going to always be consistent. But they needed a little firepower knowing that A.J. Mitchell, J-Dub were out. And so what do they get now? Now they get a guy who comes in, and when he was asked in the post-game conference, they're like, Jared he oozes confidence. And that translates to the play that they need on the floor.
Yeah, and you hear Jared McCain say it. He's, I don't know how I got so lucky. I'm having the time of my life. And that certainly translates to the floor. And a lot of this, yes, it's what Oklahoma City did well, particularly after the dud of a game they had in San Antonio in Game 4. But the Spurs, they didn't look like they had that sort of punch from the jump here. Let's take a listen to Mitch Johnson, what he had to say after the loss.
To beat a team of this caliber in their building, what's the stakes will need to be a lot better to give yourself a chance. There's a lot of things all over the place where even we had advantages and we just didn't make simple plays that take advantage of the opportunity in that possession. And in this type of game, you got to be sure of everything you're doing in a very secure, mature way.
I just think with the way they guard, how physical they are, we don't get that same luxury to be able to play as physical on the other end at times. But offensively, I think we do a good job of screening and playing through it. So I think we create a lot of advantages, but I think we just missed a lot of open shots tonight.
So notably, Victor Wembanyama did not speak to reporters after Game 5. It's pretty unusual, I think, for the young superstar. The NBA, remember, requires players to be available to speak after games, and this was the biggest game of Victor Wembanyama's career, and so I would have loved to hear from him. Now, the NBA has warned Victor about not speaking to reporters, and certainly this isn't something that they're going to condone happening again here. But, Danny, when you look at games, the difference between Game 4 and Game 5, what changed here for San Antonio?
I mean, for me, it looks like the fatigue, and mostly on Victor. Like, his legs weren't there, his energy, his activity.
He had that a little bit in Game 3, too,
Yeah,
right?
and that's why I think that overtime game, those minutes are starting to add up when it comes to him. And his rebounds are a direct, like, reflection, and you can see the correlation. When he's rebounding, that shows his activity. When he's having 8 or more rebounds a game, they're 7-2. When he's under 8, they're 2-4 now. So he doesn't get his own rebound, throwing it up off the glass. Yeah. He's not able to get that as much. Them keeping away from the paint. Obviously, he's missing some chipping, some bunnies. But he's always able to get those second chance points, which he wasn't able to get in Game 5. And that shows, like, his fatigue to me. He had an alley-oop opportunity that didn't go through. Like, there's a couple of possessions that showed he was half a second late on Shea making a layup, not blocking it. You know, Hartenstein getting a floater. He's like half a second late on these blocks. So them shooting 69% at the line or against him at the rim is very unlike him. So Uncarrious' game is one of his probably worst games of the postseason.
Worst plus minus of the postseason, a -8 for Victor.
Yeah, so them shooting 69% is probably the worst stat that I've heard when it comes to him, because it usually affects the game. If he's not having a great offensive night, defensively he can make it up by deterring them from getting to the basket and also blocking some shots, and I didn't see that last night.
This, to me, was the welcome to the NBA playoffs moment through adversity for Victor Wembanyama, having to fight through fatigue and just falling short. On the other side, when you're seeing him, well, actually, there was a play. Did you guys notice in the second half he had an alley-oop?
Yeah.
They threw it up to him, and
Dylan
normally
Harper.
he just would just put it in.
Yep.
And he didn't have the legs to even
Rip the
finish
screws
that.
out, as
To
Kirk
me,
would
that
say.
was a sign. Yeah, rip the screws out the rim. That was a sign. But when Victor is in these circumstances, you expect teammates to be there to help him step up. Stephon Castle has his hands full. I know the foul trouble at times can hamper him, but he's guarding SGA, and that's difficult, and he's trying to compete. He's their second leading scorer in this series, 19 points per game. He's got his hands full. The Dylan Harpers, the De'Aaron Foxes, who we know are not 100%,
Sure.
that to me is where they need the boost. And it's hard because in the postseason you want to be healthy, but not everyone is healthy at all the right times to help Victor Wembanyama sort of create some energy.
Right. When your two stars are shooting 8 for 30, and I'm going to put De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama as those two stars, the anchors, the elder statesmen in a lot of ways of this team, that's not a recipe for success. However, I do expect this to go 7. This is the kind of setup that Victor Wembanyama has a huge bounce back game. Because after game 3, I thought the same thing. There's no way that he has more gas in the tank. And then he had this enormous game 4. And so that's the type of bounce back game we've come to expect from Victor Wembanyama. This is where stars get made. We still got a lot to go here on NBA Today, including getting over to the Eastern Conference here. Because while the West is still duking it out, Jalen Brunson in New York.
I don't like that.
They're headed to the NBA Finals.
Bag, not that one. Burn notice, I get it. I watched the show.
We are going to revisit Becky Hammond's comments that she made on this very
Not our
show
choice, Becky.
here.
Our producers.
The Thunder struck last night, but is this actually good news for New York? We're going to dive into the Knicks' ideal finals opponent here. Gotham, guys, is Chicago. We have to get that right before we go to the NBA Finals. And
that's a Batman.
After one of the most disappointing nights of his postseason run, how is Victor going to respond in Game 6? It's win or go home. More NBA Today on the West.
Much better Space Jam. Everybody get up. Yeah, that's better. Not Brunson.
That's DOS.
Not a savior in any way, shape, or form. I just want to be able to contribute to the team.
As I continue to grow older, as I continue to be who I am, and I'm not really worried about what people will say.
Brunson to drive, bangs it home, 61 points. Jalen Brunson, born to play basketball. For the first time in 27 years, the New York Knicks are going to the NBA Finals.
This place means a lot to me. We're still writing the story.
I think it's fair to say that Jalen Brunson has been one of the most impactful free agency signings we've ever seen since leaving the Mavs to sign that 4-year, $104 million deal with New York during the 2022 offseason. By the way, that's the largest purse the Knicks have ever offered a new player. And the point guard, he's led the Knicks to the playoffs in all 4 seasons. But the team fell short, of course, in the East semis his first 2 years and then the East finals last season. Now, Brunson, he did sign an extension in 2024. He made headlines, remember, for taking $37 million less over the first 3 years of that deal, but those savings, it helped the Knicks afford Cat, OG, Mikal Bridges. And now the Knicks star has led the team to its first NBA Finals appearance since 1999. They are 4 wins away from their first championship since 1973. And Jalen Brunson, some may say in the NBA he's a short king, right? He's the 5th player, 6'2" or shorter,
King of New York,
over the last 40 years to lead his team in scoring entering the finals. The others, Steph, Tony Parker, Allen Iverson, Isaiah Thomas. Pretty good, right? So 2 years ago, on this very show, Becky Hammond had some thoughts that are making the rounds again. Let's take a listen together. Previously on NBA Today.
But at the end of the day, they don't have a dude. You got to have a dude. You got to have a 1A dude. And they're missing that at the end of the day if we're just getting down to brass taxes. If your best player is small, you're not winning. John Stockton, Allen Iverson, Steve Nash, you could go down the list.
I speak from experience, and I never, Allen Iverson got MVP, and he lost in the finals, and I think the 2 best teams are probably in the West. But I'm up for being proven wrong. I said what I said. He proves me wrong. He proves me wrong.
Becky said, I said what I said.
Stand 10 toes down,
she
Becky.
said, you know what? We're going to see. Maybe he is going to prove her wrong. However, I do think it's important to point out this team looks vastly different now. When she made those comments, it was still Julius Randle that was his running mate. Karl Anthony Towns some nights is the 1A for this team, even though Jalen Brunson is always the head of the team.
But can we also say that Becky Hammon is doing just fine? She's entitled to her opinion. She has won 3 championships in the WNBA. Came and became the highest paid WNBA coach. If you don't agree with her, that's fine. But she's doing all right.
Look, only time will tell. And we thought about maybe making this a debate, a discussion, the way that some shows may here on ESPN. But we decided that rather than talk about it, we would be about it. We would show you exactly why Jalen Brunson has shown himself to be this one.
Yeah, I mean, those other guys have helped and stepped up. They're great. It's a very rounded team. But don't get it twisted. This guy he has the ball in his hands more than anybody. Why? Because he's so good with the ball in his hands. High IQ, low turnover assist ratio, most on-ball screens, most drives, first in floaters and isolation, 8th in isolations. Because he's the only guy on this team that can do this. So when it comes down to it, when they need a basket, like in game 1, when they had down 22, he's going to get the mismatch. Mind you, he doesn't need a mismatch because he can do this against anybody that's playing him one-on-one. Right now, he gets Donovan Mitchell, lulls him to sleep a little bit, thinks he's going to go right, gets a crossover, gets to that left hand, sees that Mikal Bridges in that corner, knowing Max Strus is not going to help because Mikal Bridges is shooting a high clip right now. And that well-rounded team is helping him be more efficient in 1A. Gets that left hand, nice, easy drive, high off the glass. This is, again, in the guard now. Gets the switch, get the screens. This is what we go to. When we need a basket, who are we going to call? Big body Brunson.
Jalen Brunson.
He's ready to cook. Gets James Harden on you. Get in front of him, first in floaters, and get in the paint. This is what he does. He's the only guy on the team that can do this and will do this when they need a basket because he's 1A.
And the reason why he can be a 1A, a top dog on a championship team, the hottest team in basketball, the New York Knicks, is because it's not just when he has the ball in his hands, it's also the off ball.
Right.
Look at these numbers right here. He's doubling the amount of times he's screening. As a screener on off ball screens, he's now figured out a different version of offense. You got to thank Karl Anthony Towns a little bit for being a facilitator here. You see him with the ball. All right, he's going to slip the screen first and foremost. And then he's going to create some motion that makes his defender a little bit late. And this is how he gets so many good looks, finishes in the paint. Not just because he's big-body Brunson, it's because he's actually setting screens off of the ball. Here's a back screen to allow a backdoor cut. Cat, you see him doing his thing, playing quarterback. A little hee-hee. Love that here. He's made 29 two-point jumpers, and that is 3rd in the NBA in the postseason because of his actions, not just with the ball, but without the ball. Lastly, there are going to be so many different nicknames. We got Big Body Brunson. We got the Brunson Burner. We got Captain Clutch. He's the former Clutch Player of the Year. Maybe, NBA champion.
Right.
Could be coming soon.
And certainly when you talk to Knicks fans, when you talk to other Knicks players even that have had some incredible runs with New York, there is a sense that if he is the guy that leads this team to an NBA championship, many are ready to call him the greatest New York Knick of all time. But we're not there yet. They're still 4 wins away. But we thought, New York Knicks fans, just because you got a week off, we're not going to stop talking about you, showing you some highlights of the season. We got a top of the top. These are the best moments of the New York Knicks season. And we have to start right there with that nickname, the Brunson Burner.
Brunson Burner, tween, cross. He's just playing with you again. Ooh. Man.
A lot of two-stepping going on right there.
Slide to the left. Crisscross.
And then we head to Vegas here. Dropped Anthony Black.
He's like, ref, what you doing? Help me out.
Help me out. No one was there.
You got to make the shot when you drop someone like that, right?
100%.
Knicks down 2 to the Pacers. Seconds remaining. Brunson.
Jalen Brunson.
Reigns the game winner. They remember. They know what Indiana did last season.
Clutch.
That's why they're playing so well right now.
And I love them all borrowing Mikal's celebration there.
Yeah,
and then how about top crowd pleasers? OG.
Okay, Ogwumike. Oh, upstairs.
Ogwumike.
Stuffs there on Micah Porter.
Yes, sir.
And then Cat double teamed.
Oh, yeah.
Everything.
How did he find
He always liked to put that extra sauce on
Nice little whip pass. Ooh, I didn't know he had that in his bag.
Does he?
All of that.
Okay, Cat.
Stuffs it down.
Go upstairs one time.
I love it.
Yell at the camera.
Show them. Show them.
Lastly, we got some top playoff moments here, and there's been a lot of them. Mitchell Robinson over Joel Embiid, and this was the perfect poster, too.
It was.
The photos from this were nasty. And then,
man, the athleticism. He's had a couple.
Yeah.
Timmy Chalamet loved that one.
Timmy.
Body to body.
Speaking of fans, the city of New York went nuts after Jalen Brunson drained this triple. This is game 1 of the Eastern Finals.
Man, that was just cruel. What he was doing was cruel.
This was the last time that series was.
Call timeout.
It was a series?
Yeah. All right, let's head back west here on NBA Today because San Antonio's season hangs in the balance. Danny Green, you're going to tell us how Victor Wembanyama must respond in Game 6. And big changes come into the NBA draft lottery format. So we're going to discuss what the pros and cons are and how it will affect the entire landscape of the league here. And while New York awaits the winner of the Western Conference, which team do you guys think the New York Knicks are hoping?
I don't think it doesn't matter, honestly.
Hoping. I did have one conversation with a player from New York that I'm going to share on the other side.
Let's go.
What he's thinking might behoove them more.
Welcome back to NBA Today, presented by Häagen-Dazs.
This is game 5. Whoever wins this has the momentum to close this thing out.
This team at home, when they get rolling, they're so tough to stop.
He knows this is desperation time. He's pleading with his team, fight, fight.
Spurs need a desperate, miraculous comeback or else they'll be playing for their lives. McCain lifting, watching, diving a three. Game number 5 to the Thunder. 1 win from a return to the finals.
Well, the Thunder, they're rolling up 3-2 in the conference finals thanks to some key contributions from their role players. I don't even know with the Thunder, can you even call them role players? This is just the Thunder identity at this point. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had a little bit of a slow start in this one. Early in the second quarter here, Jared McCain.
Wow. Look at that darn.
Jay Will.
Hell of a pass.
Casey Wallace.
Touch pass.
Great ball move.
And most people would just catch and finish it. Instead, he's like, you know what's better than 2, 3?
In the very next possession here, kicking it to Alex Caruso.
Man, and that's how you get it back.
Williams hyping up the crowd there afterwards after that shot as well. One of the better backup centers in the league, right? McCain drives, gets to the rim.
Man, nice touch.
Gets that one to go. He had 20 points.
Man is a hooper.
Let's go to the fourth quarter here. This is the start of the fourth. SGA just sitting comfortably, hanging on the bench. Julian Champagnie throwing a pass to Wemby, who's just not quite looking there.
Yeah, got to have some communication in that transition.
And then the other way.
He wasn't looking.
Give up a dunk.
Isaiah Hartenstein.
Juju played good last night, though.
So with Wemby on the court and SGA off, the Spurs, they were outscored by 8 points. They shot 3 of 13 from the field. That's just not a recipe for success, especially because they were also, Shanae, out-rebounded by 4. Here come the Spurs.
This was it for me. That was the play. I was like, it's not his night. He doesn't have his legs. And he normally makes this a highlight reel #1 on SportsCenter. Not this time.
Not this time. Victor Wembanyama couldn't quite get it done. Here's Miss Johnson after the game.
He's got to take more than 15 shots, even with the free throws. And, yeah, he's going to have to score more than 20 points for sure. He'll definitely need to take more shots. But there's a lot of things all over the place where even we had advantages and we just didn't make simple plays to take advantage of the opportunity in that possession. And in this type of game, you got to be sure of everything you're doing in a very secure, mature way.
Vocal cords, maybe.
Yeah. He's been coaching hard.
Need a little lotion. But he is correct, right? Wemby, he's put up video game numbers in the Spurs wins, 37 points, 16 rebounds, but he's been really human in their losses, going for 22-9 here. We haven't heard from Victor since the loss. As we discussed, he didn't speak with reporters after the game. But, Danny, how does he need to respond here in Game 6 with San Antonio's season on the line?
Yeah, he's got to respond in a big way. And the biggest thing is defense. Them giving up 127 points to that OKC team without J-Dub and A.J. Mitchell
after only giving up 82
unacceptable.
The last time.
Again, as a primary defender and the opponents 11-16, that's what they were last night. They had 11 made field goals against Victor. I think that's a career high or his probably career low as being a primary defender at the rim.
That's crazy, Danny.
69%. Like, he doesn't allow that. As you've seen every one of those clips, he's half a second late, half a second behind. His activity, not just rebounding, but deferring those guys, deterring them from the rim is going to be clutch and key. Like, we know he dislikes Chet. We know they have a rivalry. You got to be physical. Make sure Chet is still scared of you. Put the fear of God in him. And also Isaiah Hartenstein. So defensively is where it relies more on him. But like Ms. Johnson said, he's got to score too. He's got to be aggressive offensively. And that's getting closer to the basket, ducking in, getting an offensive putback. So he's got to be active all around. He's got to be MVP. And they do need help. Champagnie gave him some last night. It's tough to lose a game when your role player gives you 20. But we need Keldon Johnson. We need Dylan Harper. We need De'Aaron Fox.
You see that wee that's coming out? His Spurs.
It's my French, you know?
Spurs. That's that
a little Wemby language.
Yeah, and speaking of that differential, because right now that's the strength of the Oklahoma City Thunder, that they can have guys sub in and give you all-star-like production, which is wild, especially in the postseason, whereas the Spurs just don't have that. Look at the difference right here. The Thunder are doubling when it comes to points off of the bench, 51 points per game off the bench. This is bonkers. Mind you, McCain started, right? So his contributions in the last game, getting 20 points, knocking down 3 threes, don't affect these numbers on this side when it comes to game 5. It's hard. Like Victor, let's just keep it real. Victor, you can see he is giving his literal all every second he's on the floor. Danny, I want to ask you, in the postseason, what is it like to fight past that fatigue? Like, how do you teach a guy like that who's going through it to be able to make it?
It's tough. There's a reason why everybody thinks every team needs to go through like some bumps and bruises. They take their lumps. Right now, they're showing some youth right now, and you got to go through a year of losing because it takes that mental stamina, that mental stability, and like going a year of doing that to be able to have your mind conditioned for that. And right now, they're really going through it.
Which is why we say the Spurs are ahead of schedule in some ways.
Keldon Johnson's trying to do it. Pop is trying to do it. Like, it's going to take upon him. But everybody in that locker room is telling him this is a mental thing. It's not just physical. Like, it's no longer physical for you. You got to bring that mentality and fight through it. And again, it might not happen for him. But it starts and ends with him, and they're going to need him to come with that, from the start to finish, that mental toughness and not allow himself to feel or even think fatigue at any point in the game.
Right, but despite the last couple of years, the San Antonio Spurs team, they don't want to hear about that. They don't want to hear about the fact that they have to go through it, that they have to lose before they get to the mountaintop. You know that better than anyone, Danny, because you were actually in the San Antonio locker room. So can you just take us inside, to Chiney's point, what those conversations are like within the Spurs specifically? Because they don't accept that.
No, they definitely don't. And I think Pop let that be known in that film session maybe 2 or 3 days ago. He might talk to Timmy, he might talk to David Robinson, and there's a reason why they probably not let him talk to the media. You know, they're going to have him by himself, protect him from himself, also have him mentally just away from everything. And then when it comes down to it, watch a lot of film. We're going to talk him through it. Maybe a sports therapist, but they're going to make sure that he's mentally ready, physically ready, give him a lot of massaging and whatever treatment he needs, ice baths. But when it comes to the mental part of it, they're going to make sure not only he, but everybody else on that team is locked in, because it's not just him. He needs De'Aaron Fox. He needs Stephon Castle. He needs Keldon Johnson. So even though we need him to be ready, those other guys got to come to play too, and it's going to take everything with your backs against the wall in a game, elimination game for them. This is the first in his career.
Which was interesting. I was scrolling social media yesterday. Giannis said this, Poach. You guys know the guy that says, like, hey, you're rich, teach me your ways, right? Giannis had one of those, and he said the way that he became an MVP was because Kobe Bryant challenged him and said, be MVP. And he realized it was hard to do that physically, but he told his mind first, I will be MVP. I am the best. I can't say what Giannis said, but like there is a mental game, right? Where I'm sure Wemby, we all know he studies the aspects of the game. He's prepared. But to me, it's the physical part. Like, he's being asked to create. He's being asked to defend. He's being asked to do so much. Doing it over the course of 4, 5, 6, 7 games, that's where you need your teammates. But their teammates are occupied.
Right, exactly. And everyone's a little bit banged up at this point in the season. And if you're the New York Knicks, you're sitting back over here going,
keep going.
Y'all beat up on each other all you want here, because the Knicks, they have had success in the regular season, which you can only take so much from, right? Against the Spurs, they won 2 out of 3. That does include the in-season tournament title game. They won that one by more than 11 points. They did, however, lose both games to OKC. Their offense just didn't quite look right. Did anyone ever, like in college, or did anyone play like Would You Rather? Did anyone ever?
I might have played that once or twice.
Like, I might know the rules. So if you're the Knicks, would you rather, Danny, face Oklahoma City, or would you rather face San Antonio?
Earlier in the playoffs, I would have said the Spurs, because I've seen how they match up with them throughout the season. And right now, the Spurs are showing us the regular season does not matter. Because OKC, even with guys being down, they are beating up on the Spurs right now. But how Victor was struggling with how he's struggling right now with Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet, he is going to struggle even more with Mitchell Robinson and Karl Anthony Towns. Like, that big lineup gives him trouble. So if I was them, I would say San Antonio. But with the way OKC is and how they're banged up and down bodies and the way that New York is playing basketball, I don't think it matters.
Agreed.
So whoever comes out, I know everybody's saying the West is stronger. I'm thinking the trophy is in New York City this summer.
Wow.
I got Knicks in 6, whoever comes out of the West. So the way they're playing on the string defensively, offensively, sharing the ball, moving it.
Chiney was going, agree. And then you said Knicks in 6, and Chiney got real quiet.
That's the way they're playing. You got Landry Shamet going 11 for 12 from 3. Deuce McBride knocking down shots. Big Body Brunson ISOing down the stretch. This team is looking unbeatable.
They're looking the part.
They're looking really,
really
good.
are,
And with those two teams going to be fatigued after a 6, possibly 7-game series, we've seen what Cleveland looked like. Obviously, Cleveland's a little bit lesser, but they were fatigued. It's hard to turn around and jump right into another finals series against a team that's playing like that, that's fully rested as well, and playing their best basketball. That's an uphill battle. I think the Knicks are going to bring it home this year. Honestly.
Victor Wembanyama is a player of destiny, but it feels like the New York Knicks are a team of destiny. All the circumstances for them to win a championship are sort of unfolding in real time. You are literally the hottest team in basketball. You're holding teams to the least amount of points. You're scoring the most. You have the largest win differential. Your team is clicking on all cylinders. And you've got the king of New York in Jalen Brunson, right? I like watching. It's not what you do, it's how you do it and when you do it. They are playing their best version of basketball right now. Whether it's the Spurs, whether it's the Thunder. I had trust issues with the Knicks coming into the playoffs. I don't have them anymore. I have confidence now based off of the circumstance that they're going to be rested, looking at this banged-up Western Conference and be like, we can do this now. Now, saying all of that, I would want to avoid Victor Wembanyama at all costs as an individual, but even more so, I'd want to avoid the Thunder as a team. Because they are built to withstand. They are built to withstand.
The DNA.
Buying
time for their players to hopefully get rested up and healthy.
And also having experience of having a long layoff, knowing that they kind of let their foot off the gas in Game 1 against Cleveland. They got lucky and also a little bit good late in that game.
Rust.
They don't panic.
Exactly.
And if you're going into the Garden, the number one quality you want from a team is not being able to panic.
Right. And talking to players after Knicks players after they were able to win the Eastern Conference Finals, I had a conversation with I said, who do you want to face? And they said, well, we're just glad to be the rested team. They did, though, mention that going up against Oklahoma City and the way that they really smartly used that foul, starting the series on the road, that is something that they're going to have one eye on. That could prove to be a challenge for New York. Well, we got a whole week to talk about what New York would rather do.
ESPN and ABC.
This really is shaping up to be one of the deepest drafts we've seen in decades, and it all starts on June 23rd, live from Barclays Center in Brooklyn. It's less than 1 month away here. And ESPN's latest mock draft, this is according to our expert Jeremy Wu, has the Wizards taking A.J. Debonta at number 1. Also important to note, as you see how he sees the top 5 shaking out here, at midnight tonight, that's the deadline for players to withdraw from the draft, but don't expect any of these names that you're seeing here to go back to school. This, though, is the final year of the current draft lottery format. Now on ESPN.com, you can check out Tim Bontemps' article, The Pros and Cons of the New NBA Draft Lottery Reform. This is worth your time before the league votes on this new policy tomorrow. And lucky us, Tim Bontemps is here to break down those pros and cons for us. Tim, hello. You're looking rested and well. Let's start with the pros here of this new lottery format. What are you looking at that could be a pro?
Well, as you know, Malika, there's not going to be games here in New York for a while. So as we wait for a week until the NBA Finals start, as you said, the big news of the week in the NBA, besides the Western Conference Finals, is the passing, all but certainly, of this new draft lottery format tomorrow at this Board of Governors meeting. And the biggest thing that this is going to do, I think, is it's going to curb the most egregious forms of tanking that we've seen. By having the bottom 3 teams in terms of record have a lesser chance of jumping up in the lottery than we've seen for teams in the past, that is really going to prevent some of the extreme versions of tanking we've seen. Like this past season, for example, the Wizards lost 27 of their final 28 games. It's also going to potentially see some more creative ways for teams to go about trying to build their teams, because with the draft lottery being so different than it's been in the past, the value of draft picks going forward is going to be much different. So we will see how that works in terms of the way teams approach trades. Do they try to load up on as many picks as possible? Do they say, hey, the draft is going to be so random now, it's more useful to go get players where we know their value instead of waiting to see what those picks are going to be. And it's also going to incentivize playing teams to compete all the way through. By the 8th and 9th and 10th teams in the play-in tournament, all getting at least one ping pong ball, all those teams could have the chance to make the playoffs as well as be in the lottery. So certainly going to add a lot of randomness. And the one other thing it's going to do, Malika, is we're likely, according to sources, going to have a live lottery going forward. So as opposed to in the past where it's been in a secret room, under this format, if it does come out, there's a good chance that next year we will find out in real time where the picks all land. That certainly would be an interesting thing to happen if it does.
Yeah, that would be an interesting wrinkle, and good to know. That means my job on the draft lottery show is probably going to change and maybe even become a little bit more complicated. Okay, Shanae is rubbing off on me. That's why we decided to go with pros first, trying to have a glass half full approach, as my good sis Shanae always does. But there are some cons to this new format, Tim. What are those cons?
Yeah, there are a couple of them, and I think the biggest two are, to start with, the restrictions on teams that either win the lottery or finish in the top 5 in 2 consecutive seasons. If either of those things happen, you're not eligible to be either the number 1 pick in the draft the following year or be in the top 5 for 3 consecutive years. Next year, that's going to apply to 2 teams. The Washington Wizards, who obviously were the number 1 pick in this year's draft. They will, we'll see who they wind up taking. And the Utah Jazz, who were 5th and then 2nd in the past 2 years in the draft. So they will not be eligible to be in the top 5. And this also carries over to another thing that has teams upset, at least some teams, in terms of these new rules, which is that for picks that have been traded, like, say, the Utah Jazz pick, now the Memphis Grizzlies have it as part of the Jaren Jackson Jr. trade back in February. When the Grizzlies made that trade, they thought they were getting an unprotected 2027 first-round pick. Now they are getting a restricted pick in the sense that it cannot land in the top 5, because even though it's been traded to another team, the Grizzlies can't get that pick if it lands in the top 5. The highest it can be is 6th. And the league did that to try to curb these aggressive multi-year versions of tanking. I understand why they did it. But given how random this is going to be, Malika, with 16 different teams getting the chance to jump up, I think it might be a bit of a bridge too far. And the other thing that could be a bit of a bridge too far is we talked about how those bottom 3 teams in terms of record, they're going to have lower chances of moving up in the lottery. They also could slide all the way down to 12th. And for a system that is designed to create more randomness and to, in theory, have teams not want to be at the bottom of the standings, penalizing teams that probably are truly the worst teams by potentially sliding that far also could be something that becomes a bit of an issue. But look, at the end of the day, we know how big of an issue tanking has become over the past couple of seasons. Adam Silver repeatedly said he was determined for there to be some changes to the system. These obviously are big changes, and we will see starting next season just how much of an impact they have.
And we'll certainly also see how long they stay in place, right? Is this something that the league does for a couple years to try to curb tanking and then makes another change, or is this something that is going to be in place long term? But the voting officially takes place tomorrow. Tim Bontemps, your stubble, we really appreciate the time here. Hey, we did get an award, a little late, but we got it nonetheless here, Chiney. Congratulations. Joe Mazzulla. He won Coach of the Year last night. He led the Celtics to 56 wins. He was the 2nd seed in the East after that offseason that saw some major changes in Boston. Joe Mazzulla, he received 62 of the 100 first-place votes. J.B. Bickerstaff, Mitch Johnson, they also received votes here. But remember, Joe Mazzulla, he won Coach of the Year after helping the Celtics outperform their preseason total, their win total, rather, by over 15 games. But he also currently owns the best record by a head coach in league history. Wow. However, remember how he feels about this award? You remember when he shared his thoughts on Coach of the Year? This is back in March.
You don't need it. I think it's a stupid award. They shouldn't have it. And it's more about the players, and it's more about the work that the staff puts in. And it's just that simple. I really don't ever want to be asked or talked about it again. It's just that dumb. So the players play. It's about them. Staff works their ass off. I'm grateful to have him.
Oh, my God. Congratulations to Joe Mazzulla. And in honor of Joe Mazzulla, we won't talk about it.
We won't talk
anymore.
about it. Nope.
The WNBA, though, back on ABC. That's June 6th. The Storm and the Lynx, followed by the Valkyries, the Aces. You can tip off with us on WNBA Countdown. That's at 12:30 Eastern. You can catch both games streaming on the
I'll be there.
app.
Let's go.
As well. Which one?
Both of them.
All of them.
Both.
She in here. Coming up, though, with a week to wait before the finals.